and welcome to Guitarist Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.guitarist.com. My name is Jason JROCK Houston, and I'd like to welcome to the show today Guitarist Thaen Ramussen. Am I saying your name right?
Thaen Ramussen.
Rasmussen. Okay, thank you for correcting that.
No problem.
And you're from a band, TRP, which is named after you, Thaen Ramussen Project. So let's talk a little bit about that. I had a chance to listen to your debut, and I'll be real honest with you, Thaen, I've never heard of you till your publicist reached out to me, but I was really impressed with what I heard. And just to give you, I'd also wrote up a review for a CD, and just to give people an idea of how I describe it, some words that came to mind: intense, heavy, beautiful, and inspiring. It's a little bit of everything, and after I listened to the entire CD, what I was left with is, while I'm sure that you can shred with the best of guitar shredders out there, you seem like one of those guys that you play more for the song. It's not so much about being a show-off.
No, I definitely wanted to make it a song type of record, with good vocals and it's not a shred fest.
Yeah.
It said, but placement is key, and feeling and a little shredding here and there, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with those type of records. I did grow up with a lot of those guitar heroes back in the day, but I think like unless you're Steve Vai or like Joe Satriani, I mean, a lot of times when they would put out those guitar-oriented albums back like in the 80s and 90s, you get an album of 10 great Shredfest tracks, but they all kind of sounded the same. Whereas, like even listening to your CD, what I liked about it was every song kind of stood out on its own, it's a little different, and it makes for a great listen.
An interesting ride. That's good. Yeah. I hope so.
And let's talk about, like I said, I don't know too much about you, just kind of learn about who you are. Who are some of your influences, as far as your guitar heroes when you were growing up?
When I was, let's see.
I guess,
the first one that comes to mind is Jimmy Page, actually. Wow. I used to be a huge Zeppelin fan.
Wow.
When I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And Jeff Beck was one as well.
Oh, I got to ask you about Jeff Beck, because he of course just recently passed away, last week.
Yeah.
And what's funny about that is, I mean, of course, I knew he was old, but I had no idea that he was that old, because you look at the guy and he still looks relatively young. He's never really changed what he looked like. It's amazing that he was able to stay so.
He's basically kept the same look.
Yeah, maybe the music kept him young. Who knows? But So talk a little bit about Jeff Beck, since he was an influence, and what are some of your favorite albums or songs he did that really kind of inspired you?
I haven't listened to that stuff in so long.
I got you, but
I think when I first saw him, it was the Wired tour.
Okay.
And that was really cool. That was one of my first big shows.
Yeah, a lot of
15 or something.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about Jeff Beck. A lot of people may not even realize that. I recently found out myself that a lot of people don't know that he played on the Aerosmith song "Train Kept a Rollin'." He does a little guest spot on that.
Oh, on the original track. Really?
Yeah. So that's a little fun bit of rock trivia for you.
I did not know.
Yeah, and so also I'd like to ask you. Was this album recently recorded? Like, with the last 3.5 years, a lot of people were locked down. Is that kind of when you worked on this?
It actually went back a little further than that. Yeah.
Okay.
Several years. Just started writing songs at home and working with the drum software, and I play bass on the record because it was kind of out of necessity.
Yeah.
I did that initially, and when I decided I had to do it, I redid it. And that was really interesting because, I'm not really a bass player.
Yeah.
And it's easy, or it's not as. I kept it pretty simple.
Yeah.
And just went, okay, I have to try not to sound like a guitar player type thing. bandmates.
Yeah. Let me ask you about that, because that's a common thing. A lot of people think, oh, bass players are just failed guitar players, or guys that wanted to be guitar players that couldn't cut it as a guitarist. But how hard was that for you to learn how to play bass? Is it very vastly different from playing a regular guitar?
I had been doing it for a while, just as I put together songs and stuff, because it's just easier not to have to call somebody to do it.
Yeah.
And I got a little better at it as I did this record. Just really paying attention to the drums and counterpoint kind of situation.
And so have you always been like a solo artist, or did you ever play in other bands? Talk a little bit about that, as far as what you've done in the past.
Well, I guess most recently I was in Vicious Rumors.
Oh wow, okay. Oh wow, okay. So wow.
I was in that band off and on from about late 2006 to 2016.
Oh, okay, so if you don't mind taking us back, how did you get that gig? Was it just knowing people, or what was that process for you, as far as did you have to audition?
Yeah. I had known Jeff Thorpe.
Yeah.
For years, and then also the drummer Larry Howe.
Okay.
Even further back, and he's the one that called me up about about checking it out.
And was there an audition, or did you kind of just get the gig based on his recommendation?
There wasn't really an audition.
Yeah.
I mean, when he first asked me to do it, I kind of listened to the stuff, and I was doing my own band called Black Sun at the time.
Okay.
And it was a thing of to go to Europe and play a few shows and stuff, and at a festival in Spain.
Yeah.
And I considered it, and I checked it out, and I kind of decided against it.
Mm-hmm.
But then and then Larry got back to me, and he said, "Oh, Brad Gillis is going to do it." And I'm like, "Great, good deal."
Good for him, yeah.
And then I guess that didn't pan out.
Yeah.
And he asked me again, and so I revisited it, and I got together with Jeff, and I decided to do it. And we basically, I woodshedded the stuff and got together with Jeff, numerous times.
And did you get a chance to contribute to that, as far as writing and being involved with that?
Yeah, a little bit later on, there was a few things on the Warball album, and and then a few other.
Yeah. And of course, I'm sure you were very aware of, you at least heard the name Vicious Rumors. Who hasn't? But how familiar were you with the material before you joined the band?
I wasn't that familiar. I mean, I'd hung out at a place, a friend of mine's place, where I think at the time Jeff and Larry were living, and not a whole lot. I think I'd heard a few songs, stuff like that.
And okay, and
but we had played with Vicious Rumors when I was in a band called Animal Chorus.
Okay.
Back in the '80s, and we played some shows with them.
Wow. And so once you joined Vicious Rumors, did you feel pressure to play the songs the way the original guitar player played them, like note for note, or were you able to come in and kind of put your spin on the tunes?
I think I did a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because I felt like certain things had to be in the realm, at least, and with key parts as far as solos and stuff like that, and the rest of it, all rhythms and parts, I would try to keep as close as possible.
Yeah. And so
they are records.
Oh, sure.
You don't want to go too far off.
And so, about what year did you leave Vicious Rumors? And I was kind of curious, what led to your departure? Was it just a matter of you kind of wanting to move on and do your own thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
And okay, and just to get to know a little more about your personal story, Thaen, how old were you when you first started playing the guitar? And talk a little bit about what motivated you to kind of pick up the guitar versus, say, becoming a drummer or a frontman or something like that?
Well, I tried a few instruments before guitar. Well, actually, that was after the first time I tried to play guitar. I was about 9 years old.
Oh, wow!
And it was too hard.
Yeah.
You know, so I just kind of lost interest. I didn't have any mindset about it or doing anything in particular. And then I took up horns. I played. I played clarinet a little bit, and I ended up playing trombone and trumpet. It never got really that far.
Yeah.
But then about 14, I started doing guitar again.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I met a guy who was, you know, playing some cool stuff, and we'd hang out. He played Pink Floyd and stuff, and I was, wow, cool, you know, so, you know, and just my changing in musical tastes.
Of course. And did you
get into rock and this and that, you know?
And did you take lessons, or would you consider yourself more of a self-taught player?
I'm pretty much self-taught.
Yeah,
I think I only took, you know, maybe a handful of lessons.
Yeah.
You know, over time. You know?
Yeah, well, you know, like a lot of things in life, there's two schools of thought to that. I mean, there are guys like you that, you know, it's pretty amazing, like listening to your record to hear that you're kind of a self-taught guy, but a lot of people are, you know, and people got, you know, you obviously got the talent, and there's something to be said for, I think, maybe when you got the ability to do that, because you know, there are guys that like they're real technical players, and they're like real disciplined, and like no, I gotta you know, hit that note wrong, we got to go back and re-record it, got to get the perfect note. But there's also something said to be about being really creative. I mean, because, and not so disciplined. I mean, especially when you're, you know, doing rock or metal music or whatever you want to call this. But the thing with you look at a guy like Eddie Van Halen. Look at the legendary career that guy went on to have, and people are surprised to learn that he could not read a lick of music. But again, that's not always the most important thing, you know, in creating music.
Yeah. I mean, he was a natural. You know, I think I've been told that I'm a little bit like that. It has to do with having a good ear.
Yeah.
You know, and that's more of a. I don't know if that's something you can work toward, or if it just kind of happens. You know, kind of thing. But you know, I mean, a lot of the solos I play on the record are basically I just plug in and go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then see where it takes me, and then I'll listen back and go, okay, you know, I like some of that. You know,
it's interesting. A lot of you
figure it out from there. I don't think about the notes particularly. I listen and improv and you know, make it work.
It's interesting. I was interviewing this guitar player the other day, and he's in this band. It's like a Spanish metal band, and it's called Santa Obscuridad or something like that. And it was an interesting experience because you know, typically I don't listen to anything that I can't understand, but the amazing thing, and maybe because we're talking about music, I'm listening to the songs on that album. It's Spanish metal band. I can't really understand, can't even say the title of a song, or let alone you know, sing out the lyrics to the song. But yet it didn't seem to matter because the music was just, I mean, it was that beautiful, if you know what I mean. It was but then again, that's the beauty of art.
Makes you feel a certain way, and that's what attracts you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never really kind of experienced anything like that. Yeah, and it was kind of a unique. Now, talking about having that ability, you know, to play and listen to music, does that help you? Like, did you produce your album, or did you work with an outside producer?
I basically did it myself until, you know, we tracked the drums. That was the only thing outside of the households. We took it to a room, and I started working with Will Storkson from My Victim, and which Tori, the singer, is from that band as well.
Oh, okay.
And we brought in Carter. You know, we tracked the drums.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I really liked the singer on the album. I mean, he's got his own thing going, but he's got like a real Glenn Hughes kind of vibe to what he does.
sure.
Yeah.
I love Tori's voice. He doesn't sound like typical
hard rock metal singer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's got a little more to offer than just that. I mean, he obviously does it, but
yeah. And again, and just kind of
versatile.
Yeah, which is kind of what this album is. I don't know that it's really fair to call this a hard rock or metal album. I mean, there's definitely elements of that, but again, just to kind of simplify to me, I hear it's kind of intense, heavy, beautiful, inspiring. It's kind of all over the map. I mean, how would you define?
It's got some different influences,
Yeah, how would you define what you do? Like somebody asked, would you call it a rock album? Would you call it what would you call it? Just
it's kind of heavy melodic rock.
Yeah.
If you're talking metal over time, I mean, it would have been called heavy metal back in
I mean, full tilt.
In the 70s, or whatever, and there's a lot of influence.
Yeah,
from that era, probably more than the 80s.
Oh yeah,
because that's where I really.
It's funny you say that, because I was talking to somebody the other day. It's funny, these terms that we throw around like metal, hard rock. I remember back in the 80s, and we laugh about this now, but that Bon Jovi was considered heavy metal just simply because he had long hair, and it's like,
yeah, right.
And I remember when he cut his hair. Oh my God, he cut his hair. He sold out. It's like, but because the guy has long hair, he's heavy metal, and I think we're a little more advanced than that now, in our description.
There were definitely less genres, right?
Yeah.
More genres, more subgenres.
Yeah.
Nowadays. So I just let people call it what they want to call it.
There you go. And sometimes that's better. And sometimes that's better because it might make it easier for you to get on different types, stations and that, because if they just think you're simply a metal guy, then only one's going to be playing you maybe of a metal stations, and there's not a truckload of those out there. But it's interesting the music business being what it is today compared to when I was growing. I mean, I'm an old school guy. I remember going to record stores. You remember when they had things called record stores? You could actually go and buy music and then have to buy it all on.
Tower Records, Record Factory.
Tower Records, man, that was my place. I could spend hours in there. In fact, In fact, I remember like first time I saw Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. I'm not even knowing a thing about the band, and just thinking, man, that looks so cool. I have to get it,
Yeah. See the artwork. And just kind of go, huh? Wow.
But on the flip side, of that, we also got to kind of, the world being what it is today, you got to kind of embrace technology in that, and it's interesting because there was a time when you would when most bands to even make a decent living, you'd have to get your songs on the radio, you'd have to get your video played on MTV, and the interesting thing about MTV is MTV in a lot of ways killed itself. I mean, it's not even it's a TV network still, but I flipped by MTV the other day, and they don't even play music videos anymore. That's how ridiculous it has gotten,
It's been going like that for a while, I guess. I haven't really checked it out.
No, yeah, but I'm just saying.
Years. I remember when it started.
Yeah. In fact,
it was a novelty for sure.
In fact, like I said, in many ways, something like MTV killed itself. And what I mean is, I interviewed Mark Scott, the drummer from Trickster, once, and he was telling me, okay, here's what happened. He goes like, 1 week Trickster had the #1 song on Dial MTV, and he says by the following week MTV and all the radio stations decided they were going to quit playing hard rock and metal, and they're just going to play grunge only and stuff. He goes, the powers that be, they made that decision, and while it was great for all the grunge bands, even by doing that and not just kind of staying true to what they were, I mean, MTV died. They allowed their brand to die. It's kind of sad,
Yeah, that was an interesting time, and the wave was crashing on the hard rock metal kind of situation.
And I bring that up only because at the same time, again, the music industry, and you're probably finding this out and going out and promoting your album. It's a lot easier in some ways because you can just post your video maybe on YouTube. Other people will post it on their sites. people find, I mean, I can't tell you how many bands and musicians I find to interview for this, just on Facebook alone and on the internet. It's a great resource, if you will. And so you don't even need something like MTV, you know.
It's very crowded.
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there nowadays.
That's the thing.
Sure.
That's the thing.
It's easier for people to do stuff,
Yeah.
but it's just, there's so much.
And see, that's
so it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You know, I think.
And that's the thing for a guy like you is, how does a guy like you compete with all those other, you know, thousands of bands that are also on YouTube?
I don't know if it's even a matter of competing. It's
not competing, but at least,
like I said, I think it's just crowded, and you know, you just try to get it
out there as best you can.
To people that want to listen to it and appreciate it. You know what I mean? I guess that's the thing to do.
Oh yeah, and so, you know,
not easy.
And so what has been response? Like I was watching and prepping for this today, I was watching your music video for Full Tilt, kind of futuristic look to it, but how people been responding to that? People been digging it?
Yeah, so far so good, you know. Yeah.
And what can you tell us about you know, shooting that video? How long did that take to create that video? Because it's again, watching it myself, pretty impressive. I mean, it's a great song, but just visually, it's like visual eye candy. It's like something you would see on MTV back in the day. It's that professionally, you know, shot. And so I think people really deserve to see it, if you know what I mean. I really urge people to go check out your music video. Again, it's called Full Tilt. So just what can you tell us about the video, and how long did it take you to create that?
Also, there's another one called Surreal.
Surreal. Okay, I'll have to check that out. I'll post that when we post the interview.
As well.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to release another one soon. My buddy helped me with those videos, a guy named John Simon, who I used to play with in a band called Spy vs. Spy. About the time when the wave was crashing in 1990, you know.
Oh, wow.
It was a really cool band. Actually, we worked on the record not too long ago, and after years, and Joe from Animated Insanity Records, he put it, you know, when he was sending out my CDs, he'd also send out the Spy CD.
Oh, wow.
Spy CD. I call it Spy CD, but it's actually SDS 11 is what it's called.
Okay.
Now.
And so,
but yeah, he helped me do those videos.
I will definitely post both of the videos with the interview when we post it, so people can check it out. But let people know.
You know, it doesn't really have band people in it, but it's better than looking at a
I don't know
wallpaper of the record cover.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it takes you on a little journey.
Again, kind of looks
with the music.
Futuristic to me. I don't really know how to describe it otherwise. And you're so right, because what I dig about it is it's a lot more than just a simple lyric video. It's a lot more than just you know, the name of the song on the screen. You got really creative here, and that's why, like I said, people should really check it out, because I could tell all the hard work that was. Now, is that like is that computer generated, or how was that shot, or was it shot? You know what I mean?
It was basically footage manipulated.
Okay.
we'll call it that.
Well, like I said, nice eye candy. I mean, that visually, like when you watch something, that's you want to, you know, kind of like when you go to a rock concert. Like I say, if I want to stay home and listen to the record, that's what I do. But if I go see a band play live, I want to be entertained. You know. Yeah.
Like I said, it's a little more than, you know, just than a lyric video with some graphics, or even, you know, just a wallpaper kind of. And
so let's tell people where if they want to buy a copy of this album, where they can do that, and is it just available digitally? Can they get physical CDs as well?
Yeah, it's definitely physical CDs in Europe and beyond. It's No Dust Records, and then in conjunction with Animated Insanity Records, which is out of U.S.
Oh, U.S. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're in the U.S., that's the best place to get the CD. and currently digital downloads are available at Bandcamp.
And you said we can get physical CDs if people want?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
At those places.
Europe and Japan and beyond. No Dust Records, and then Animated Sandy would be U.S.
Okay. Do you want to?
It'll save on shipping.
Yeah. There you go.
It not being an import.
Yeah. And do you
but they work together.
Yeah. Do you want to tell people where they can find you online?
Yeah, it's well, right now it's Facebook.
Okay.
Page. The band page is TRP.
Yeah.
The band TRP Thaen Ramussen Project. The band.
And final question for a day, Thaen. Any plans to take this on the road? And if so, will you have a band, or will this be like a solo kind of one-man band thing?
No, there definitely will be a band. And I am looking forward to doing that. It kind of has to make sense.
Yeah.
You know, and but I do want to get out and do it. We're going to start rehearsing in February.
Okay.
And we're looking at doing a record release show.
Oh, cool.
In the Bay Area here, and maybe in March or April. I'm not really sure yet. I'm working with the bass player Stephen Goodwin. Also plays. I played with him in Vicious Rumors.
Oh, okay.
Really cool guy, great bass player.
Yeah.
He's doing it, and he's also in another band called From Hell.
Oh, wow.
And they were getting ready to. They had a record out, and they're getting ready to tour. Right before the pandemic, and then that screwed everything up. So they never really got a chance to do a record release.
Oh, okay. And so
and get out there and tour, obviously. But I think we're gonna get together and do a double record release situation.
Wow. And so, is what you would like to do? Like, do you think it'd be like you like to go on a bit of a tour where you're touring, or do you think it'd be a lot of like one-off and weekend shows and stuff like that?
No, I'd like to take it out on the road.
Yeah.
I'd like to get back to Europe. I love playing over there.
Yeah, I understand.
Possibly some U.S. stuff and beyond.
Yeah. I understand a lot of the European fans they really got a love for their rock bands, and it seems like they're a little more passionate about it over there than they are here in the States. Has that kind of been your experience?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, interesting.
I've done multiple tours with Vicious Rumors, and I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed the fans and meeting the people.
Oh, I'm sure. And the fact that you were telling me that this album's kind of been in the making for so long, what's it feel like to finally get the finished product? And oh wow, it's done.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, definitely. Now it's on to the next chapter.
Yeah, so you're from San Francisco. Yeah. So you're from San Francisco. I was curious. Were you living there back in the early '80s when the big thrash scene was going on there in the Bay Area?
Yeah. I started doing club stuff or shows, what have you, in the early '80s, '82.
Yeah.
And it hadn't quite started yet. I think Exodus were starting to do some stuff. I know those guys, and that was back when Kirk Hammett was in the band, actually.
Oh yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And I remember Kirk and Gary going to one of the shows and seeing them up there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see
way back.
What all those musicians have gone on to become. Even like Gary Holt, you mentioned would go on to join Slayer a couple years ago and kind of do those final Slayer shows. So it's interesting to see what all those guys went on to become. Well, I'd like to thank you again, Thaen, for taking time to talk to me today. I really enjoyed getting to know you, and let's please keep in touch. And
thanks for having me.
And we will do it again. Okay, so you just let me know when you have another video or something to promote, and I'd love to talk to you again.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Chaotic Riffs Magazine.